You have to find the LSAT prep course that's best for you. When I first started studying for the LSAT a couple months ago, I did what probably everybody does. I looked on TikTok, YouTube, and Reddit and searched to see what does everybody say is the best prep course, because you have a limited amount of time and it costs. So I wanted to make sure I was making the best choice. That is how I settled on 7 Sage. Tried that for a couple months, and although my test score did increase 10 points while using 7 Sage, disclaimer, I did also have a tutor, but I watched the LSAT Demon podcast every day, finally decided to try it out, and I realized recently the demon is where it's at. So I'm about to tell you the main differences between the two so that you can choose the right prep course for you. There is no right or wrong prep course. It really is about your learning style, what meets your needs, and your budget. I have ADHD, and this list is going to be tailored to that. To start, LSAT Demon has an app. And the reason why that makes such a big difference for me is because a big barrier to me actually sitting down to study was the fact that I have to mentally prepare, sit down, get everything ready, log in and start to study. Well, with the app, the Demon is set up so that you can just drill one question at a time. That's one thing that really drew me to trying it out, is I heard them talk about this on their podcast. But you can open the app, and if you have a few minutes, maybe you're waiting in the car or in the bathroom or wherever, if you have 5 minutes, you can just log on and do one question. And so once you do one question, if you have more time, it's easy to keep going. The hardest part for me was sitting down and getting started. And the app just made that so much easier, and it eliminated the barrier of getting started. On top of that, the Demon provides a streak at the top. It's on the top of your dashboard, either in the app or on the desktop, and it shows how many days you have logged in to study in a row. And all you have to do is one question a day to keep your streak. Again, at least for me, once I get started, I'm likely to keep going. The hardest part for me is always getting started. So it kind of gamifies studying a little bit. It gives you that dopamine boost of taking something off, if you have ADHD, if you know, but that streak really helped hold me accountable. Another thing I loved about the LSAT Demon versus 7 Sage is that LSAT Demon is not lesson heavy. They take the approach of you learn by doing, and 7 Sage has more of an approach of like they have months worth of coursework. And I started out just by doing the foundations coursework, and don't get me wrong, that helped me a lot. But I would get lost in the sauce of overthinking of like, well, am I supposed to go through all the lessons before I start doing drills? Where does drills and practice tests fit into this schedule? If I'm getting through all of this, then I would do a practice test, meet with my tutor, and we would decide which question types I should be focusing on for the week. And then I would do drills of that. And then just doing the drills of those question types every week and then taking a practice test is what really improved my score. I didn't really need the lessons. When I ran into a question type that I was like really struggling to get better at, then I would go look at the lesson plans, like jump ahead in the 7 Sage curriculum and look at those lesson plans. But the Demon is really centered around doing drills, doing time sections, doing practice tests. And then you go look at the lessons for certain subjects if you need it. It's not put in order like a curriculum, so you don't feel like, well, I need to do this from start to finish. You really get to jump to the specific topic that you need at that moment and then get back to drilling. And so that solved for me the idea of what do I need to be focused on right now? What do I need to be doing to study? It just simplifies that by shortening how many lessons you have to take. You really do learn by doing the questions. That brings me to the next thing. This is huge. Other things are kind of preference. This is, while still subjective, more, it just is what it is. Seven Sage, I really didn't like their explanations. And the reason is there's a couple reasons. One, their explanation videos, some of them for like older tests, their explanation videos are actually a screen recording of like a group class. And so each explanation video is like 20, 30 minutes long. And then you're having to listen to the tutor or the teacher walk somebody else through it. And that explanation video is based off of that person's needs versus just being a straightforward explanation video that answers every question that you could have. So if you have ADHD, like I do, a 30-minute explanation video for each video, each question is just not going to cut it. So I found that I was just like, let me see if I can figure out why this answer is right and why this answer is wrong on my own, which is a great skill to have. But if you're paying for something to give you explanation videos, I just did not like Seven Sages. The newer explanation videos for like the newer tests are usually a shorter video that's straight to the point. It's somebody walking you through it and diagramming it. But again, even that person's explanations, they just didn't work for me. LSAT Demon, on the other hand, they give you multiple options. Every question that I've encountered so far has at least 2 different videos and a written explanation. So if you have different learning styles, you have the option of just reading an explanation versus watching a whole video. If you have a short attention span like me, being able to just like read through the explanation helps me so much. If it's something that I benefit from actually like watching it be diagrammed, then there's a video available. And they have multiple videos, and the videos are from different people. So if you don't like that person's explanation, you can watch the different person's explanation. And then they also have the option for you to like an explanation, like one of the choices. And so in that, you get to see which one were the most popular, which one is the most liked explanation. And then you can kind of like start from there. And then some have like 5 different explanations, unwritten, and maybe like 4 videos. So that's huge because one explanation video that they're just kind of like skimming through and like, oh, that answer choice is like, no, you shouldn't pick that. It's like, okay, but wait, I did pick that. Tell me why I shouldn't pick that. They don't actually go thoroughly through every answer choice, at least for me. So the explanation videos alone make LSAT Demon so much better. This is huge. And this is where LSAT Demon gets a little pricier than Seven Sage, but man, it's so worth it. And I can't stress this enough. Your LSAT score is the hugest determining factor of your scholarship amount and how much you're going to be paying for law school. It's an investment. I can go into a whole nother video about when is the right time to start studying and when you should take the LSAT and when you should apply. I'll save that for another video. Comment if you want it. But LSAT Demon gives you the option to ask a question about a question. So if you go through the written explanation, you go through the explanation videos, you still can't understand why you got the answer wrong, or like you can't understand why this answer is right or why this answer is wrong, you can actually ask a question. Somebody will get back to you within 24 hours. That's damn near like having your own tutor, except without having to pay the price of a tutor. That option right now is like $200 a month, which is more than the highest Seven Sage plan. But again, it's so worth it, especially if you can't afford a tutor, but maybe you need a little bit extra help. Like that's an amazing option to have. Another thing that I love about LSAT Demon is that it's designed for you to only need to spend an hour a day studying. Of course, if you have more time than that to study, do it. But if you're working a full-time job, or if you're still an undergrad studying, or you have a kid like I do, family, other obligations, they give you a general study schedule of on this day, do a timed logical reasoning section, and then review your answers. On the next day, do an hour of drilling, logical reasoning. On the next day, do a time reading comprehension. They break it down for you on what you should generally be doing every day that you only need to spend an hour doing. And 7 Sage, again, they have so many lessons that they will give you a custom study plan down to the day of exactly what you should be doing. But that custom study plan only factors in the lessons. It doesn't factor in when should you be taking a practice test, when should you be doing drills. And so it's scheduling you for hours a day to be doing the lessons. And then it's like, wait, when am I supposed to fit in the drills and the practice tests, you know? So it's just super simplified. If you like heavy curriculum, then 7 Sage is amazing, but it's just not for me. I learn by doing. So that is one thing that I personally love about LSAT Demon. LSAT Demon also has a whole lesson that's included with the free trial. They have a whole lesson on how to study, on how to use not only their platform, but how to study. And that's something that 7 Sage just doesn't really teach you. Again, when I was using 7 Sage, I had questions that were unanswered about when do I do a practice test? When do I fit in drills? When do I start doing that? And if you do a practice test and then you're like, oh, well, my biggest weakness is flaw questions or main conclusion questions. And then you go to the curriculum and you're like, but I'm not there in the curriculum. And the curriculum builds on top of each other. So it's like, well, dang, I have to go through all the curriculum to get to this question type, you know? I mean, obviously, you can skip ahead if you want. It's not like the lessons are locked until you complete them, but that just wasn't ideal for me. Again, most people don't have a ton of time. You want to be as efficient as possible when studying for the LSAT, especially because you most likely have a test date that you're registered for, or you have a deadline that you've given yourself about when you want to take the test for different reasons. Don't rush it. Take it when you're ready. Apply when you're ready. It's another conversation. But there's time is of the essence. There's so many reasons. So I just feel like the LSAT Demon is just a much more efficient way to study, at least for me. Something that they both have live classes. I have not taken a live class from LSAT Demon yet. When I do, if you want my review on how that goes, I will let you know. They both have daily live classes. The package for LSAT Demon that includes live classes is $300 a month. They do give you a discount if you have the LSAC fee waiver. 7 Sage has, I think, more classes every day. But one thing for 7 Sage, their classes are kind of like the teacher's going to go through these questions, walk you through it. If you have a question, you can ask. From what I think, from what I've gathered based on like reading the class descriptions and what they say about taking live classes with them, is that they do have a few problems that they're planning on going through, but it's more interactive where you can ask a question like, hey, I have a question about this question. And so you have an opportunity to really engage more in those classes, and that they can tell you, like, you know, based on the question that you asked, you should go review this lesson. And again, their lessons are topic centered, not like for each type of question. You might have a lesson on necessary versus sufficient, for example, where to get that lesson in 7 Sage, they might have that in foundations, but that would just be weaved into more lessons versus it being that straightforward to find that specific topic. One benefit of 7 Sage, though, is that if you have the LSAC fee waiver, you can get 7 Sage for $1, which is pretty incredible. I personally don't have the fee waiver right now, so that doesn't benefit me. But if you are on a budget, by all means, I think that 7 Sage is probably the best bang for your buck on a budget if you qualify for the fee waiver for sure. Because LSAT Demon, if you have the fee waiver, they only give you a discount on their plan, but it's nowhere near that steep. I think it might be like 20% off of the plan. So it's an investment. I think it's worth it. I'm making the switch. Does my bank account like that I'm making the switch? No, but it's an investment, you know? So those are my reasons. Hopefully this was helpful for you. If you have any other questions for me on my studying process or just in general, go ahead and comment. I'll make more videos on those topics for you. And I would appreciate if you subscribe, follow me on this journey, and let's all join the 170 Club.